Buckle up, buttercups. Today we will be talking about Project Bluebeam. But before we get into that, it's important for you to understand what types of secret technology currently exist in order to avoid falling prey to the tricks of the deep state cabal. Once you understand the technology, you will be better prepared to handle the situation when the technology is finally unleashed on an unsuspecting population. There is a reason there have been very few technological advancements in the last 100 years. The military deep state cabal does not want you to know what they're doing with your tax dollars, and more specifically, they want to leverage that technology against you in order to cause fear and panic, which helps them maintain control. Just remember, when it comes to technology, the deep state cabal is at least 30 to 50 years ahead of us. I will primarily focus on technology the deep state currently has at their disposal, and will try to refrain from speculation. All of the technologies I will now present have been admitted to by whistleblowers and high-ranking government officials. Some are protected under international patent laws, while other forms of covert tech have been exposed by credible photographic and video evidence. The deep state has access to anti-gravity propulsion, advanced holograms, quantum computers, and AI that can easily pass a Turing test. Through advancements in electromagnetism, they have perfected tractor beam and teleportation technology. Directed energy weapons like lasers and microwaves can eviscerate entire towns. And using very low frequencies and carrier waves, they can alter your mood or can make you hear voices by beaming messages directly into your head. Aside from this, they also have nanodust biosensors with tracking technology that uses your own biothermal energy to power themselves. They have artificial wombs and cloning technology that literally went underground 30 years ago. And, aside from HAARP-induced artificial climate manipulation, they have portable energy devices that can reduce a human being into a pile of slag in less than 8 seconds. If you're not terrified at this point, then you are not paying attention. Project Bluebeam is designed to simulate a false flag alien invasion by using a combination of holograms and directed energy weapons to cause widespread terror. Many cryptid sightings were genetically engineered monsters the deep state created to masquerade as hostile alien ground troops. This fake alien invasion would result in thousands of real-world casualties and panic so extreme that the Cabal could seize control of the entire planet under the guise of global defense. Whistleblowers like Sarg Monast and the German scientist Werhner Von Braun validate Project Bluebeam. However, there are steps you can take to protect yourself. Royal blue is effective at nullifying green lasers. Microwaves can be blocked by certain fabrics and gemstones like shungite, which can be sewn into clothing like baseball caps so you don't look crazy walking around in a tinfoil hat. Floating holograms can be revealed by balloons and fireworks.
Us towards a post-human world. Enter Project Bluebeam, a scheme involving a staged alien invasion or faked religious experiences designed to manipulate humanity and tighten their grip.
If enough people believe that something is real, then it is real in its effects.
In terms of the social reality.
In terms of the social reality, in terms of what people act according to their beliefs.
Yeah.
And that opens a question of, really at two levels, perhaps something that we are creating ourselves, perhaps a series of images that we are projecting. I think Carl Jung came very close to expressing that idea in one of his books. Or could it be manipulated purposely by people who have the technology to simulate UFO sightings? And people say, well, of course not. Who would do a thing like that? Well, I would remind you that during the Watergate investigation, it was discovered that there was a plan originated in the White House to surface a submarine off the coast of Cuba and paint the second coming of Christ over the island of Cuba using holograms. Which is well within our technology today. The idea was that since there is a large Catholic population in Cuba, they would be so upset by this vision that this would saturate the communication channels, the telephone system in Cuba, long enough for an invasion to take place.
It's a cornerstone of their endgame. And insiders, including Werhner Von Braun, have been warning us for decades that they have the technology in place to deceive humanity.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Hope walks up to the window. Look right back here. Something. Do you see that little black thing come up? And then watch.
Harvard scientist Robert Duncan, with insider knowledge of CIA and NASA operations, pulls back the curtain on this elite-driven plot. Their ultimate aim? A one-world government and a drastic cull of the population.
There's something called like Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, good one.
What is that?
That's
lasers, right?
Yeah, I can actually talk about that one, but that is it's really bad. But you know the people that see orbs in the sky.
Yeah,
go around that fly faster.
UFOs.
UFOs.
Yeah, there's Navy pilots. There's multiple Navy pilots who talk about. They got their they were flying F-18s. These Navy pilots, and one of them's coming in here in 2 weeks. He's Ryan Graves.
Okay.
He's a Navy pilot flying off the coast of North Carolina, and they got their radar upgraded on their F-18s, and all of a sudden they were seeing these things darting around on their radar.
Okay. Don't tell him what I'm about to say and see if he knows about it.
Okay.
So what we do is we play with our own forces to make sure our trickery will work on the enemy. And those are directed energy weapons of where we do intersecting beams or focus beams into the atmosphere. And notice they're always in the atmosphere to excite the electron orbitals of the oxygen and nitrogen in our atmosphere. And it causes a glow and it causes ionization. That ionization shows up on radar and it's like a cat laser pointer, and we're making planes chase them.
That's exactly how they describe these things moving, like laser pointers.
Yeah, and so we can do it in 3 space. And we can make it look like
in 3-dimensional space.
Yeah, and we can make it look like an entire fleet is about to drop bombs on, let's say, Europe, and then just have them disappear. And they get all their planes up in the air, and we attack them from the other direction, assuming we're attacking Europe.
Who is doing this? The Navy, you said?
Somebody. Let's just say a group, you know.
And you know this for a fact.
I know for a fact. Yeah. So anyway, don't tell your guests.
A group within the U.S. government.
Yeah. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Yes.
And is this something that could be seen with the naked eye, or
yes,
was this something
because
that
it glows? It glows, so it'd be seeable. You can see it by the naked eye, and it would leave a radar trace. So it's perfect as a deception, and it involves the voice of God weapons that I was talking about.
Project Bluebeam does.
And this got leaked, so it probably won't have the effect, and they probably won't do it. But if you wanted to bring the world together, as President Reagan said in several UN speeches, you would have a common enemy, like evil aliens attacking. We forget our differences and we fight against it. So
we wouldn't look at each other as Chinese or Russian or American. We look at each other as Earthlings.
It's humans, as Earthlings. And so that was Project Bluebeam, was to trick the human race into believing either God is coming down, everybody hears the voice of God, the microwave hearing effect, get along, give, whatever the new message is, or it was going to be the evil aliens attacking. And notice how they, all of a sudden, all the governments release all their information on UFOs, and there's a whole division dedicated, and that's just deception.
You think it's all deception?
I think it's all deception.
Really?
Yeah. But that's my opinion. I've looked at all the videotapes and that people have given me, and I can explain away each one of them.
So apparently there's apparently lots of footage and videos and photos that have not been released to the public.
Yeah, I haven't seen those, so I can't give
And if you think this is all some sort of psyop, what do you think the ultimate purpose of it is?
Distraction against a lot of this human experimentation we're doing.
From anything we have in our current inventory.
Fake alien invasion. And the destruction will be real. That's what people don't understand. Fake just means the aliens will be fake. The aliens will be fake. But the destruction on our cities will be real. That's what I want to bring to people. That's what I want to make people understand. And people need to realize this before it's too late. Because this operation is going to go to its final conclusion soon. And we see the preparations right now happening everywhere.
The strategy that Werhner Von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in '74, they were the enemy. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over, during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie.
Now the grand finale. This is some scary shit. In March 1997, an event known as the Phoenix Lights became the most infamous UFO sighting in history. A mile-wide vessel, clearly not man-made, flew slowly and silently over the state of Arizona and was witnessed by 10,000 people, including the governor of Arizona. To date, there has been no reasonable explanation. But for every witness interviewed, the craft was as real as anything they'd ever seen. Their lives were transformed. They now believe that we truly are not alone. However, there is another truth, for I know what they really saw. In 1986, while stationed at an underground installation near Boulder, Colorado, I was introduced to Project Skybeam by Lieutenant General Andrew Garris. I was then led down a corridor and into a large hangar, where a stealth bomber hovered only 20 feet above me. I stood there confused, and Garris looked over at me and smiled, then asked if I was certain of what I was seeing. I replied, of course. What else could it be? I was then shocked to find out that this wasn't a real craft. It was a projected hologram. Since the early 1950s, scientists have been developing holographic technology, and over the years improved it to a state that we can only imagine. As I stood there staring at the bomber, which looked so absolutely real and solid that I could reach up and touch it, I contemplated the possibilities. What if this projection was 1,000 feet up in the sky? How would anyone know that that was an illusion? The Phoenix Lights craft, witnessed by 10,000 people, was the first grand-scale skybeam test upon the public. It succeeded beyond expectations. To amplify this response, those who are truly in power of not only our country, but all the countries on the planet, and who are the true purveyors of the depopulation process, have formulated the final stage of their sinister plan. In the year 2024, a global event will alter the course of mankind's future. The world will stand witness to a massive alien invasion. Thousands of projected holographic alien warships will blanket the skies, sending people into a global panic. Real military crafts within the holograms will inflict actual damage to the surrounding areas to sell the gimmick. And as a result of the ensuing human chaos, a one-world government will immediately form without any resistance from the people. They will be the new world order. Once this happens, we as a people will be doomed to enslavement and accelerated depopulation. With that said, the only hope for human salvation is to acquire and spread the knowledge of these activities and agendas. Resist, retaliate, then conquer this imposing enemy. The time is now, as humanity is rapidly approaching its final days.
You have been watching Rebelgenius. If you've enjoyed this content, like and subscribe. Why fight destiny?